One of the worst things for MS is stress, and stress can come in good packages and bad. I have some things I know for a fact that I do that cause stress. Maybe you can learn from one or two of mine. Hey there. Welcome back to MS 24/7 365. It's really great to see you again. Now, while stress is stress, the things that we do that cause the bad stress, those seem to be the most detrimental. And there are some things that I find are the bad stress causers in my life. Maybe some of them are yours too. The first in my mind is poor sleep and, daytime sleepiness. While there are plenty of medications, both over-the-counter and prescription, to help with sleep issues, there are also non-medical ways to help with this. To help with sleep issues, turn off the electronics. At least a half hour, but best case an hour, before you're going to bed. The phone, the computer, the television, all contribute to poor sleep. Try meditating. At least 5 minutes of mindful meditation will do amazing things for your sleep. There are so many apps out there that help with meditation. You can search your app store for any guided meditation and soothing sounds apps. Some people swear by a warm shower or bath before bed, while others find a glass of wine is the best way. As far as daytime sleepiness, if it's a possibility in your life circumstances, take a nap. But honestly, if you can work on the poor nighttime sleep, the daytime sleepiness may take care of itself. Now, when you have a disease like multiple sclerosis, or any chronic illness really, you may find yourself thinking poorly of yourself and your situation, of the path that your life is now taking. That can be a real problem for effectively treating your illness. And if we're honest with ourselves, we probably spent way too much time in negative thoughts before we ever became ill. Alright, so what are the things we can do to try and counteract those negative thoughts? One thing I tried to do is when the negative starts rolling in, I rework it to a different narrative. Take my most common narrative. The thought that I am no good at caring for my home. While that may be partially true, it's not because I am no good. It's because I have a disease that makes it difficult for me to do certain things. So when those thoughts come in, I rearrange them. Instead of, I am no good, I let myself admit that I may not be able to do the heavy lifting of caring for my home, but I am able to do other things that might make my house a home. Another great way to remove those negative thoughts is to sit down and write them out. When you can look at them, you can more clearly see where the reality is versus your self-bashing. After you write the negative thoughts and take a good look at them, you can then write out the truth. Usually our negative thinking is somewhat based on truths, but we tend to minimize the good and expand the bad. And that's what we're trying to stop doing. And as simple as it sounds, be grateful. Look for the things in your life that you're proud of, that make you happy. Find the beauty in each moment instead of constantly looking to how something could or should be better. Be grateful for the moment. Those negative thoughts can cause a lot of stress in your life. And that's the one thing we're trying to reduce. Now, one of my greatest stressors is the fact that if I am trying to have a conversation with somebody, whether general chit-chat or a serious discussion, I have a hard time with words. Either being able to think of a word I know and I want to use and not being able to bring it to my voice, or losing the thoughts I wanted to verbalize and stumbling trying to complete the idea that I no longer have. That is probably one of the hardest things I have to deal with. I spend a lot more time writing notes to people so I can make sure I can able to relay my thoughts correctly. It's why I always write a script for my videos. Otherwise, 2 minutes in, and I forget what I was even talking about. Now, have you ever heard the phrase, what's the best way to eat an elephant? one bite at a time. No? It's all about feeling overwhelmed. It's like when I look at my house and it feels like it's in chaos. Every room needs to be cleaned, and if I look at the whole house, I will get overwhelmed and then do none of it. I have learned to consciously look at it a room at a time, and even in each room I break it into individual pieces. Instead of looking at the entire kitchen as a mess, I prioritize each action, even so far as breaking down doing the dishes. First I unload the dishwasher, and I always start with the cutlery basket, and I put those away, and then I load the dirty ones. Then it's the bottom shelf. It all gets put away, and I load the things that go on the bottom. Then the last is the top shelf. I put all that away, then load the top shelf. Then I run the dishwasher. And I try to do that kind of thing with every part of every room. I find it helps me to not become overwhelmed, which will, more times than not, cause me to not do any of it. Another problem is physical inactivity. Having a debilitating disease such as multiple sclerosis, your physical activities will tend to be slashed. Chances are, while you feel like you could still do some of these things, when you try, you discover that you, in fact, can't. Or at least that's how it usually is with me. The one that always gets me the most, when it originally happened and whenever I think about it now, it was a random game of softball during a picnic. I hit the ball fine. I went to run to first, and I couldn't run. Not that it hurt or my legs were stiff. Literally, my legs felt like they forgot how to run. I've tried a couple of times since, and I can do a quick walk, but to even hit a jog, probably not happening. And don't even think about running. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced, and I've had MS for a long time. My brain was engaged. I was in sport mode. Take off for first. Nothing happened. So I made my way to first, called my husband over, tried to hide some tears, and told him what happened. I honestly don't remember if I finished the game or not. Knowing me, probably not. Now I have a hard time walking half a block, but not always. And sometimes I can walk even less than that. So having my physical abilities altered, that set me up for some righteous weight gain. I'm heavier now than I've ever been, and I've had a really hard time getting it off. I know that if I could get this weight gone, my physical activity would quite likely improve, but it's hard. And it's really unsettling to, do the laundry or something and find out I can only fold clothes for like 3 shirts worth. Right now, I'm in a vicious cycle of limited physical activity equals weight gain, equals limited physical activity, equals weight gain, equals limited physical activity, and you know the rest. But that leads me to this other one. If you're anything like me, when you feel good, and it's not always predictable or long-lasting, you want to get everything you had planned to do, for however long, done. Invariably, I end up doing too much, and feel worse by the time I stop. My husband has started touching my arm, grabbing my hand, whatever it takes, and telling me to take a break, relax, and let him do some of it for a while. Therefore, I tend to try to do it all when he's at work. So he can't stop me. Stubborn? Oh yeah. Hard-headed? As a marble statue. Do I know better? Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you very much. But do I continue to do it all the freaking time? You bet your bippy. And I probably always will. I have never quite gotten used to the whole there are just some things you can't do anymore part of being disabled. At 55 and after 26 years, I don't see that changing anytime soon. I will ungraciously admit that I have had to let a lot of what I think I can or should be able to do go in the last year. Maybe longer, but I've given in more consciously this last year. And you'll notice I said given in, not given up. There's a huge difference between compromise and submission. While I do have to adapt my lifestyle and thinking, I will never sit down and let MS win. Stubborn and hard-headedness can cause an awful lot of stress on my body, on my mind, and on my relationships. And I hope I have let up a bit on doing that. but I couldn't tell you, to be perfectly honest. Let's hope my husband leaves a comment to let me know if I have. Well, that's it. That's my main stressors that I'm aware of. Let me know some of yours. In the next video, I'll try to get into things that I try to do to help me not get too stressed. Some work if I would be consistent. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you learned something about MS and maybe a little something about me. If you liked this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to continue learning about MS with me, hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when I upload a new video, hit the notification bell. And remember, life doesn't stop just because you have to.